So today's lecture is on inherited acantholytic disorders. And after this lecture, I am going to take a few lectures on autoimmune blistering disorders. So today, this is a short lecture on inherited acantholytic disorders. So among the inherited acantholytic disorder, the first one is the Dariers disease. Darier disease, you all know it's also called as the keratosis follicularis. This name signifies the actual histopathology of this disease. That is the follicular keratosis or follicular plugging. Darius disease is a genodermatosis, means that it is inherited by some gene defects or by some genes. So it's a genodermatosis characterized by chronic eruption of keratotic papules, the histology of which shows acantholysis and dyskeratosis. Men and women are equally affected. Uh, sorry. Men and women are equally affected. Usually a disease of young people, that is teenagers. But patient may not present until 6th to 7th decade. But mostly, at least I have come across this disease in mainly 20s and 30s. Oral mucosa is affected in 50% of the cases. Darier disease or keratosis follicularis is an autosomal dominant disorder, meaning that single gene inheritance from one parent caused this disease. Mutation is found in ATP2A2, a gene that is found in chromosome number 12. ATP2A2 encodes calcium ATPase type 2 receptor at the sarcoendoplasmic reticle. This results in defective calcium transport that lead to reduced cell binding. So just remember that for maintenance of desmosomal junctions, this calcium transport is very important. And once this calcium transport is defective because of this gene defect, that result in disruption of desmosomes and resulting acantholysis. Now, there is no autoantibodies associated with this pathology. Age of onset is anything between 6 to 20 years, and the aggravating factors include friction, heat, sweating, sunlight, and UVB. Minor Nair or Palmer changes or acrokeratosis are usually the first signs of the disease. So the rash is typically discrete or confluent, rough, greasy, yellowish or dirty brown papules on seborrheic areas, perineum, axilla, and groin. So it is classically, we remember it as dirty scaly papules on seborrheic area. So they are greasy, they are confluent, and also involve other flexures. On dorsal surfaces of hands and feet, there is acrokeratosis verruciformis-like lesions. You can see these keratotic papules. Longitudinal split or a distinctive red and white, this is longitudinal split, and this is distinctive red line, and alternating with white lines, white longitudinal bands are characteristic nail findings. Nick as well as the longitudinal red and white bands. Focal palmoplantar pits, either there will be pits or there will be focal keratosis or diffuse keratoderma. But pits are more characteristic. Oral finding. Mucosa present as wide, umbilicated or cobblestone papules, which are seen on the cheeks as well as on the hard palate. Commercial ATP2A2 gene sequencing is available, but it is generally not needed. Generally needed only for genetic counseling, and the main investigation is the skin biopsy. And in the skin biopsy, the first and foremost would be the follicular plugging. And then we see those plugged follicles at higher magnification. So this is the follicular plugging, and beneath the plugged follicle, there will be suprabasal split and suprabasal blister with tombstones at the dermal papillae. So this is the plug. This is the suprabasal split or acantholysis. You can see these tombstones. So two other characteristics which are described with Dariers disease are the grains and corons. So in the definition, I mentioned that this is the disease in which there are two features. The first is the acantholysis, that is the breakage of keratinocytes. And then the second one is the dyskeratosis, that is abnormal keratinization. Both acantholysis and dyskeratosis are because of defect in this calcium pump. Due to this dyskeratosis, the keratinocytes, they assume the shapes which are called as corons. These are actually the cells with pycnotic nuclei and a surrounding halo. So there is no characteristic nuclei and there is a surrounding halo. These kind of abnormal cells which are present at the stratum granulosum are called as the corons. And grains are actually the nuclei-like structures. These are not nuclei, these are the nuclei-like structures which we see in the keratin plugs of the follicles. So there is follicular plugging, and in the plug you see this nuclei-like structure which are called as the grains. So grains, corons, acantholytic cells, acantholysis, suprabasal split. So these all are the features of Dariers disease. These are the grains. This is suprabasal split. So the differential diagnosis of Dariers disease is seborrheic dermatitis, Hailey disease, Dowling-Dego's disease, and acanthosis nigricans. The most closest is seborrheic dermatitis, and sometimes the dermatitis neglecta is also considered as one of the differential diagnoses because these are the dirty papules. So if we grade this Dariers disease according to the severity, grade 0 is subclinical, typical rash absent, acrokeratosis or nail dystrophy is present only. Grade 1, mild, localized keratotic papules on 10% of the trunk with pruritus. Grade 2, moderate, extensive papular lesions or extensive flexural involvement. Then grade 3 is the severe form of the disease with widespread, confluent, crusted, eroded, or bullous rash affecting more than 30% of the trunk, limb, and flexures. Complications and comorbidities. The lesions can result in impetiginization and eczematization. Eczema herpeticum can occur in patients of Dariers disease. Severe disseminated infection can occur, and rarely squamous cell carcinoma. So this is Kaposi varicella eruption, which is occurring in patient of Dariers disease. Treatment. The first line treatment are emollients and topical antiseptics. Second line include corticosteroids, topical or topical retinoids, but definitely under dilution. For exacerbations, we gave oral antibiotics. sometimes antifungals and antivirals. And for chronic disease and for severe disease, the treatment of choice will be oral acitretin, 0.25 to zero point 0.5 milligram per kilogram per day. Or in case we have to give it to women of fertile age, then we would go give isotretinoin. Third line are topical 5-fluorouracil, topical tacrolimus, topical tacalcitol, photodynamic therapy, surgical or laser therapy. For very inflammatory disease, oral cyclosporin. For flexural disease, these are all theoretical treatments. Botulinum toxin. Latest progress on Dariers disease. Oral doxycycline have been given in certain studies with good result. Electron beam therapy, which you have to send a patient to a radiotherapy center. Injection botulinum toxin A to relieve discomforting symptom located in submammary areas. L-tretenon, not available in US. At this is a type of retinoids. 30 milligram per day has been used successfully in women of childbearing age because of its short half-life, that is 2 to 10 hours. This is also not available even in Pakistan. Then diclofenac sodium gel, Voltol gel, can be given in Dariers disease and also other superficial tumors. The second disease to consider today is the Hailey disease. Hailey disease, the other name of this disease is familial benign chronic pemphigus. It is familial, it is benign, it is chronic, and it looks like pemphigus. Hailey again is an autosomal dominant genodermatosis that is characterized by erosions and blistering, and most prominently involving the flexurals or the site of friction and trauma. The incidence is 1 in 50,000. The mutation is in ATP2C1 gene. It is a different one. ATP2A2 gene is in Dariers, and ATP2C1 gene is in Hailey disease. And again, this gene also codes for calcium pump of Golgi apparatus of the keratinocyte, leading to partial loss of cohesion between suprabasal keratinocytes and resulting in acantholysis. Heat, friction, and infection trigger the disorder. Clinical features. Hailey disease typically present between second to fourth decade. They are painful, pruritic, and often malodorous lesion on flexurals and other sites of friction. May be localized or generalized. In the axilla or groin or perineum, lesions show fissuring and erosion. These are the lesions which are showing fissuring and erosions, giving a typical mud crack appearance. It can occur on sun-exposed sites. Then longitudinal leukonekia or painless oral erosions may also be seen in Hailey disease. Sequencing of the gene is possible but not done, and the main diagnosis is by skin biopsy. So in skin biopsy, you see a widespread acantholysis, but this acantholysis spares the hair follicle. So this is the difference between pemphigus, that number one, pemphigus is not so widespread, it is localized, and hair follicles are involved in pemphigus and not in Dariers disease. Sorry, Hailey disease. So Hailey disease is characterized by incomplete or partial acantholysis, which is linked to walls of old deserted buildings called as the dilapidated brick wall appearance. So just like a dilapidated or old brick walls, you can see the spaces in this epidermis. Dyskeratosis can be seen, corons can be seen, but usually they are mild or absent. But dyskeratosis is also a feature of Hailey disease because this calcium pump, as in Dariers disease, also result in dyskeratosis in Hailey disease. Differential diagnosis is flexural seborrheic eczema or psoriasis, tinea corporis, discoid eczema, pemphigus or vegetating pemphigus, hypertrophic or vegetating pemphigus, then hypertrophic vulval Hailey disease, which may mimic the viral wart. Then hidradenitis suppurativa may also come in the differential diagnosis of Hailey disease. Again, it is classified in from grade 0 to 3. Grade 0 is subclinical or an obligate carrier in a female with no apparent disease. Grade 1 is mild disease. Grade 2 is moderate disease. Grade 3 is severe disease. Complications: secondary bacterial and candidal infection. Tinea can also occur. Herpes can occur. Human papillomavirus can occur. So mostly the complications are infections. Hailey pursue a chronic, relapsing, and remitting course. Treatment. The first line treatment is reduce heat, friction, and sweating, weight loss, emollients, and topical antiseptics. Then second line treatment is topical combinations of corticosteroids with antifungal and antibiotics, all combinations because of the inflammation and as well as because of secondary infection. Oral antibiotics or antiviral for secondary infection, oral prednisolone in acute flares. The third line treatment is topical tacrolimus, doxycycline, oral cyclosporin or methotrexate, then oral acitretin. Sometimes the flexural disease treated by surgical ablation or excision, breast reduction, and botulinum toxin. New treatment modalities for Hailey are the topical antibiotics like oxytetracycline, clindamycin, and nedlofloxacin. Then oral antibiotics like levofloxacin, cefaclor, and clarithromycin. Topical silver sulfadiazine cream, topical tacrolimus, and topical retinoids. Topical vitamin 3 analogs, fluorouracil cream, anticholinergics like glycopyrrolate to reduce hyperhidrosis, dapsone, phototherapy, and photodynamic therapy. So all of them are there are many researches and articles on these treatment modalities. Then in severe cases, we go for CO2 laser, RPM jack or pulse dye laser, derm abrasion, or low dose naltrexone, corticosteroid intralesional therapy, and last and foremost is the excision of that area. Then there are a few disorders which are not inherited but are acquired. These are acquired disorders of epidermal keratinization, in which the main disorder is Grover's disease, which is also called as transient acantholytic dermatosis. It is a papillovesicular erythematous eruption on trunk of middle-aged elderly white males. So this eruption is clinically, it should be separated from acne, from pityrosporum folliculitis by the papillovesicular nature of the eruption. You very well know that vesicular eruption is not a feature of acne and neither in pityrosporum folliculitis. Transient acantholytic dermatosis or Grover's disease is a disease of old patients, common in white and less common in dark, while acne and pityrosporum folliculitis are both common in young individuals. It has been associated with several medications like anastrozole, vimurafenib, and difenib, cetuximab, mercury, and D-penicillin. Most are the biologics. It is thought to be precipitated by occlusion of acrine sweat glands, a process that leads to miliaria as well. It might be promoted when xerotic skin is exposed to cold, dry air. So predisposing factor is ultraviolet radiation, heat, and sweating, and common in winters. There is sudden onset of itchy papules on trunk. Normal presentation is of papillovesicular erythematous itchy eruption on trunk of middle-aged and elderly white males. May extend to cover proximal limbs. It can be transient, lasting for 2 to 4 weeks, or persist for months to years. This is how Grover's look like. Numerous papillovesicular rash, itchy rash on chest or trunk. Investigation is by biopsy, usually acantholysis of small size and not very big blisters, but small vesicles. So acantholytic cells are seen in the vesical cavity. Sometimes the features are indistinguishable from Dariers with corons and grains. The differential diagnosis will be Darier, pemphigus foliaceus, and folliculitis. Management: avoid sunlight and heavy exercise and heat. Give emollients. First line topical corticosteroids, vitamin D analogs, calcineurin inhibitors, systemic antihistamines, and photodynamic therapy for recalcitrant transient acantholytic dermatitis. Second line is a short course of systemic steroids, systemic retinoids, phototherapy, and methotrexate. Third line is etanercept. So that's all for today. Today was a little brief lecture. And if there is any questions, you are most welcome to ask. Any questions?
Sir, I have a question, please. Sir, ये आपने हेले डिजीज में एक मर्द एक अपीयरेंस बताई, वो क्या एक्चुअली क्या बोला था वो आपने, वो सही समझ नहीं आया, क्या अपीयरेंस थी सर?
मड क्रैक अपीयरेंस को कहते हैं कि जैसे कि जब गीली जमीन होती है ना, जब जमीन गीली होती है तो उसमें क्रैक्स पड़ जाते हैं।
ओके, मडी फ्लोर और उसके साथ
क्रैक्स पड़ जाते हैं ना गीली जमीन पर। तो इस तरह से ना, जैसे कि यहाँ पे आप देखें, ये स्किन एरिथेमेटस है और उसके अंदर क्रैक्स आए। तो ये जो फिशिंग है ना, जो क्रैकिंग है, ये एक्चुअली द मड क्रैक अपीयरेंस।
ओके सर, थैंक यू
सर। एक और क्वेश्चन है सर, जो डेरियर डिजीज में आपने बताया था ना ट्रीटमेंट में कि बोटुलिनम टॉक्सिन भी, तो
टू
ये
रिड्यूस द हाइपरहाइड्रोसिस। अगर फ्लेक्सुरल एक डेरियर है ना, तो उसमें हाइपरहाइड्रोसिस है ना, कंडीशन खराब हो जाती है। तो बोटुलिनम टॉक्सिन का जो रोल है वो इस डिस्कम्फर्टिंग सिम्टम्स हैं, और खास तौर पे सब मेमोरी एरिया।
सर अगर हम वैसे देना चाहें हाइपरहाइड्रोसिस के लिए बोटुलिनम टॉक्सिन, तो विल इट वर्क?
It works
other than Hailey disease.
Yes.
Okay,
बोटुलिनम टॉक्सिन की तो जो मतलब जो नॉन कॉस्मेटिक इंडिकेशन में तो हाइपरहाइड्रोसिस ही है हमारे लिए, वरना तो बेशुमार और इंडिकेशन में भी दिया जाता है।
ओके सर, थैंक यू
सर। ये सर ये डेरियर के डिफरेंशियल में हेले को रखेंगे?
अगर डेरियर इन्वॉल्व